Hey everyone, and welcome to Wednesday Wine Night. So, I have my glass of rosé tonight. It is, what have we got? A Silax Reserve Hawke's Bay rosé, because it's starting to get really hot here. So, rosé is just my absolute go-to when it's really warm. So, there's a couple of amazing things that come out of New Zealand. One is a wine, and the other is rugby. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of one of those things, right? One out of two isn't bad. Okay, so what are we talking about tonight? Tonight, I really wanted to get a head start on preparing for the silly season, because the whole thing is that what everybody does is that they get super, super busy right before Christmas, and we've got all the kids stuff, we've got all the parties, we've got all the work stuff. It's like 1,000,000 degrees usually if you're in Australia, and you're trying to juggle everything, and by that stage you're absolutely frazzled. So really, I hate to say it, but we are literally about sort of 3 weeks before things start really kicking off and start getting crazy if you're not in the middle of it now. Okay, so what I wanted you to do was to start preparing for this now before you're in the trenches, before it's like really hot and everything's happening and you kind of start spazzing out and it gets really, really hard. So I wanted to talk to you about 5 main things that you can do really easily to help make it, transform it from like a super stressful time to one that you can actually enjoy, because why should kids have all the fun, right? Okay, so number 1 sounds super, super simple, but the number of conversations that I have on a daily basis about this is quite unbelievable. And that is to stay hydrated, right? So, you know, the whole thing is that most people don't really think about drinking water until they are already dehydrated. And that's when you actually feel thirsty. So by the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. And then, oh, hey, Tara, yeah, you made it. Woo! So staying hydrated, especially in summer, especially when you're drinking the wines and you're drinking the beers and you're eating all of the things, right? Really, really important. And, you know, especially, as I said, especially when it's really hot. So why do we drink the water? Obviously, you know, because we're humans and we need to drink water to stay alive. But also, when you're having the drinks, to help detoxify the liver and be able to kind of help with the gut elimination as well. Because the whole thing is everybody thinks about the liver, but all of that gunk from the liver, it's got to go somewhere. It goes to the gut and then out it goes, doesn't it? So if you're not doing that properly, you get recirculation of toxins, and then you feel horrible, and you're just simply not going to enjoy your time if you're feeling dehydrated and toxic and all of those things. So staying hydrated, making sure that you're drinking, especially if you know that you've got an event on in the afternoon or in the evening and you're going to be having drinks and things like that, is making sure that during that day that you're getting lots of water in throughout the day as well. So it's not like you're getting to 4 o'clock in the afternoon and going, oh, what was it that crazy lady drinking wine on Facebook said? Oh, the water. So then you're knocking back 2 litres of water. No, drink it throughout the day. That's the best way to make sure that, the best chance you have of making sure that you are hydrating on a cellular level and you're not just kind of putting it in and peeing it all out. Okay, cool. So you're going to stay hydrated. The next thing to do is to carb control. So, you know, this is not the conversation or the space right now to be talking about low carb, low fat, high fat, keto, whatever it is. The whole thing is to be going, okay, so it's the silly season. Things are going to get silly, but do they have to go batshit crazy? So the whole thing is go nuts with the salads, go nuts with the vegetables. You know, making sure that if you are going to eat cakes and pastries and things like that, don't go nuts on those, because you will 100% regret it the next day. You really will. You'll end up feeling bloated, you'll end up feeling gross, and and you just simply won't have that energy and that drive to kind of get through all of the social events that you have to and you want to. So the other thing that I make sure that I do, and I also tell my lovely clients to do, is to make sure that before they are going out that they have something that contains like a healthy fat and a protein source, which is so important before you have drinks and stuff as well. What that does is that actually slows the uptake of the alcohol to the bloodstream, and so you're not going to get as drunk quickly. So less chance of you running around nude and dancing on the tables, unless that's your jam, and then go for your life. But you probably don't need to do that if you're super drunk. Maybe you're just the person that does that anyway. Anyway, I digress. So more about gut and liver. So the whole thing is that at this time, I start taking herbs and nutrients to support my gut and support my liver. One really interesting thing that the liver is associated with anger. So, is it any coincidence that, throughout the silly season when we've got all of the relatives, all of the family dynamics and things going on, we've got lots of food, alcohol, emotions, hormones, things like that to be metabolized by the liver, and the liver is all about anger. So those frustrations and all of those so if we're supporting our liver, it's actually like another way that we can find it easier to actually sort of metabolize all of those crazy emotions on during the silly season. Yeah, massive correlation with the anger and the liver. So that is a really, really another important way to think about liver support. The gut as well, as I mentioned, everything has to be eliminated via the gut. Everything has to be absorbed via the gut. If you are not looking after your gut, you are going to feel absolutely ratty, horrible, toxic, all of the things. And that's at any time, let alone the silly season when you're kind of, doing all of the things in excess. And excess is different to different people. Some people, it might be an extra glass of wine, or it might be sort of back-to-back big nights out. Okay, Tara, I think my liver needs some support. Oh no! Have you got family dynamic anger stuff happening already? Woo! We're not even in the silly season yet, Tara. Okay, well, that's good. You know what to do with your liver, Tara. Okay, drinking. Now, not everyone does it. You don't have to do it. We're not, some of you might be 21. I'm not. And even when even 21-year-olds, we don't need to be, it's not a competition with drinking, right? And I'm actually not one of those people where it's like, let's talk about drinking wine all the time, even though I'm doing that now. So the whole thing is that drinking will happen for most of you. And it doesn't actually need to be like a full-scale kind of booze up. The whole thing is that you can actually still have some drinks and do it in a bit of a low tox way instead of absolutely giving yourself a flogging. So I like to do spritzes. So that will be obviously whatever my wine of choice is. I like the rosé or a white wine, and I'll literally do half with half of a mineral water and then loads of ice, which is so beautiful in the heat. And it just means that I don't sort of turn into like a crazy kind of drunken lady, which isn't too pretty. The other thing that I like to do is drink low carb beers. So not the grizzly beer, but the other type of like drinking beer. I know I say it exactly the same way, but a low carb beer, which is obviously, so your liver still has to metabolize the alcohol, but it doesn't need to metabolize all the sugar as well. And of course, not having that sugar and not having that, and a lot of the preservative free beers will mean that you're not sort of doing as much damage to your gut as well. Another fantastic drink that I like to drink over the silly season is vodka and soda with fresh lime. It's fantastic. So what you can do is you can have your standard sort of amount of vodka that you like to have, and then a ton of mineral water or soda water, and making sure, and then you can put your fresh lime in, or your fresh mint usually, and plenty of ice as well. So you don't need to go for these really sugary, really kind of horrible drinks, because as I sort of said, is that your liver's so busy metabolizing all of the alcohol, because the liver will always metabolize the most toxic thing first, and it perceives the alcohol to be the most toxic. So what it will do, it's almost like the sugar needs to wait in line behind the alcohol, and while it's doing that, it's wreaking havoc, putting on weight, mood swings, stuffing your gut up. So you don't need to do it. Okay, lucky last, saying no. I bang on about this all the time. So you don't need to go to your aunties, cousins, neighbors, boyfriends after work drinks. I know that was a bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. There are things that you don't need to go to, and the world won't stop turning if you say no. So the whole thing is that, is being able to use discernment. Discernment is the idea of finding out and figuring out what things serve you and what don't. And the whole thing is people actually really come to respect it, because what happens is that when you actually show up for the event that you want to, they know you're there because you want to be there, not because you'll go to the opening of an envelope. Okay, the other thing that I want to see people say no to is the preparation of everything. Yeah. So what happens is, especially women, we love to matter ourselves, and we love to be the yes people, and we also love to say no to help. So the whole thing is that if you're hosting something and someone offers to bring something that can take a load and stress off you, don't be the person that goes, "Oh, just bring yourselves." No! Ask them to bring something. People like to contribute. It's a tribe thing. We've been doing it since we've been on this earth. So we actually enjoy helping each other. We enjoy the camaraderie and the tribal stuff of all bringing things and all pitching in. So give people the opportunity to do that and take some of the stress off you. So, okay, you can do all of those things yourself, or you can do them with me. So what I've done is I've actually put together it's a limited time because it's between now and I think maybe like the 20th of December. But what you can do is you can work with me, and it includes the consult. It includes putting together a treatment plan to make sure that you're on track for your silly season, so that a personalized plan, so that you know what you're going to be saying yes to, what you're going to be saying no to, what you can reasonably fit in, what sort of foods you're thinking about eating, what you're going to be drinking, and how that all works for you. It's also got some liver herbs, it's got some gut nutrients, and what was the other thing? And a really good magnesium energy formula, so that you can actually kind of keep up with everything that's going on and feel really good, rather than sort of feeling and looking like you've been dragged through a bush backwards. So I'm going to post the link to that, because it's fantastic value and everything's done for you, and you just need to show up and we chat about your plan. Yes. Oh, hey, Amy. Okay, so I'm going to go now, and I will see you guys next week for Wednesday wine night. All right,